The key drivers of our success have been the commitment and dedication of our people, consistent investment in R&D, and strong collaborations that often result in an exciting union of innovative ideas and the spotting of new opportunities. Throughout the years, we have also nurtured a comprehensive semiconductor ecosystem that has energized Malaysia's electrical and electronics sector. Our hallmark, Mimos Innovation, or MI, is about prospecting and adding value to great ideas. From remote environment monitoring solutions to smart city essentials and electronic government tools, Mimos Innovations address more than just economic issues. They help organizations to transform their services, and along the way, they positively change society itself. We are cognizant of the enormity of the task before us, but we'd like to take it as an exciting challenge. This is the journey we carry on. It has never been one that settles for less, and certainly not for the fearful. Rather, it's for the bold, the courageous, the innovators.
Mesti namanya. Saya tulis di cakap kan walaupun saya bukan presenter, saya tak share kan, betul tak? Si Chris ya, si sampai. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all. We are still waiting for one more speaker to join. We're setting up something at this part. So before we start today's webinar, there are several messages that I need to share with all our participants today. So kindly mute your speaker and turn off your video along the session. We want to save some bandwidth here, right? And you'll be given a chance to ask questions at the end of the webinar. But along the way, if you would like to shoot any question, you can also write your questions on the chat box on the right section, right? And registration form will be shared after 30 minutes of the start of this webinar, and the certificate will be sent right to your email. So that's for now. And start right away after Chris has joined in. Thank you for your patience to wait. There is Chris. Chris is joining. Welcome. Hi, Chris. Can you try your speaker? I can't. Oh, can
Okay, I can hear. I can unclick it. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, I hear you.
Oh, this is very troublesome.
Very sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so let's start. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all. Let's start our event today with Kitab Al-Fatihah. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are delightful to have with us three reputable blockchain experts who will share their insights and valued experience on how blockchain can play its role in our agriculture fields, right? Okay, so I want to say hi to our three panelists here. Masura, Mr. Nur Azman, where is your video?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry,
And so-
because I'm currently in the hotel, so the internet connection maybe hopefully we
I
giving me a good
see.
time here.
Okay, right.
Understand.
And also Chris. Chris is all the way from Vietnam, right? Okay. So before we let them present their stuff, so let me briefly introduce each of them. And I'm going to start with the ladies first, right? So Mastura here is actually the program director of blockchain at the Malaysian Industry Government Group for High Technology Might, which is an agency under the purview of MUSTI. Masura has served in various capacities within industry, government, as well as NGOs since graduating with an MBA in International Business and Finance from Syracuse University. Right? She has written articles on blockchain and related topics for My Foresight magazine, as well as the Malaysia High Tech Outlook by Mike. She is a member of TCG15, the National Mirror Committee for the ISO TC 307 on blockchain and distributed ledger technology. And she is also a member of the UKM Blockchain Advisory Council. So maybe after this, you could also serve for UKM, Masura.
Sure, no problem.
Right, we can do some collaboration here, right? And she has participated in numerous discussions on blockchain in Malaysia and ASEAN as speaker and panelist. So welcome aboard, Masura. Thank you for spending your time here today with us. You're very delightful. Okay, moving forward is Mr. Chris Tran. As I mentioned just now, he is actually in Vietnam now. When are you coming back to Malaysia?
Whenever Malaysia allowed me to go back.
All right. So yeah, I think that will be soon, right? So I read from your Twitter profile that you said that you are a blockchain guru in bracket or not. Uh, I think you are the blockchain guru now, right? So Chris is actually the CEO of Infinity Blockchain Ventures (IBV) Malaysia and Vietnam. IBV is actually a blockchain advisory firm dedicated to enlightening and paving the way for clients towards adoption or success, right? So under his leadership, so far, IBV has successfully built strategic alliance with organizations and governments in Vietnam and Malaysia, such as Ministry of Justice, State Bank, New Zealand Trade Enterprise, MDEC, Magic Might, and many more. And with less than 2 years of experience, um, all that has been happening. And one other significant achievement is that IBB is now considered as the top blockchain advisory firm in the region with projects in supply chain traceability, tokenization for real estate, green energy commercialization, and so forth. And the total project's value from 2018 to 2020 now is approximately 2 million of value. All right. So now I'm going to introduce Mr. Nur Azman Mat Ali from Mimos Berhad. Okay. He is experienced in research and engineering industry on software development, right? Focusing on telemetric data communication for SCADA. Okay. Later on, expanding his expertise to precision agriculture, software as a service, SaaS platform, supply chain GS1 and APSIS standards, traceability platform, and sustainability. He has a strong professional with an independent activities program, IAP, and master's degree from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, right? Scale Network, Malaysia Institute for Supply Chain Innovation, MISI, and currently working in Mimos Berhad as Senior Manager leading software development and DevOps system. So that's basically briefly about each of our reputable speakers. So before I pass the floor to Masura first. As you can see, the site's already there. She's all ready. So maybe I can start with one question lah. Right? Because we today we expect to have also general audience who maybe has minor knowledge or none at all about blockchain, right? So can any one of you briefly explain to us what is blockchain basically is from both technical definition and also layman definition? Any one of you like to know?
Okay, Azwan.
Okay. Yeah, probably I can start a bit about that one. As we know that the blockchain is basically talking about a chain of information that encrypted to each other. That the main characteristic is the first thing is the immutability, which mean that it cannot be changed. It remain intact, so it's very hard to break that one. And then the second thing is since that it's a chain, so you can trace back to the root or to the origin. And then because of it's encrypted, the chain is encrypted, so it has a security secured. And then as a general, blockchain is distributed in the nature. So that's mean that if let's say you want to break it, you need to break at all the places because it's being replicated to each other. So it make your chain very secure and safe. So I think that is in the technical perspective how we want to say blockchain. But in general, layman term, I would say it's a series of information that rely on each other. So if let's say one information break, it will break the whole thing. So that's mean your information will be secured and trusted. Nah. So I think that is the what I can briefly
Okay.
say about blockchain. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, anyone else want to try? Chris, how about you?
No, I think we have tried to explain it nicely. Basically, blockchain is a database that recording things. Sometimes it can be value, sometimes it can be information. Basically, that's how I explain it to my grandma. It's just helping people to recording things in the most proper manner that everyone can trust. Right? That's how I explain to my grandma. Yep.
So that one point fail, the rest will also follows, right? Something like that. All right. Okay, so I think Masura over there can't wait to present her slide. So
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
I will pass to you, Masura. Over to you now.
Thank you very much, Numalia. First, before we start, I'd like to thank UPM for inviting myself as well as the rest of my colleagues lah, because I know them. I've seen how they work before, and I'm really impressed. So I think you've got very good lineup today. I'm not talking about myself, the other two guys, because they have practical experience in deploying blockchain in projects. A lot of people has been asking me about whether Malaysia is really serious about blockchain. So this has come to the front to show that we are really serious about it. And from the beginning, Mike has always looked at blockchain to provide value or have value proposition way beyond fintech itself. So I think this is one of the early good outcome that we can share with the rest, I would say, the world, what was going on with blockchain in Malaysia. So I'm really glad that we're doing this, right? So, okay, let me just, okay, let me just go through this. And thank you for everyone for joining us today. Kenapa dia tak nak gerak ya? I'm having trouble.
Tak boleh.
Sure. Okay.
Alright.
Okay, so just to introduce about Mike a little to our attendees. Mike has been in Malaysia since 1993. We look at emerging technologies that Malaysia can use through these three roles that we play as strategic advisor, as intermediaries, as well as content developer. So, and we use the tools of foresight and futures, and as well as a lot of testing. Probably we don't do the test, we don't do the deployment, we actually help industry to do deployment. So I'm purposely saying that because there's a lot of opportunities in blockchain, and I see that we can work with the industry. I'll share with you later some of the things that I think is worth going for. So just from my side, just now you're asking about what I think about blockchain and stuff. This is how we should look at it. I think a lot of people think blockchain is going to answer everything. It doesn't. It's actually, if you're talking about all this supply chain management, people think that it's going to decide on something, but actually, blockchain is a part of the data supply chain, which means it works in the background, and it has to have other things, other technologies in the forefront to actually supply that data to them. And actually, the development of this process, the data process I'm sharing here is just to actually enhance or focus that blockchain is for many parties, multi-party network process, right? So I hope that doesn't confuse anyone. But actually, what it leads to is this one: blockchain is not everything. And a lot of people ask me, how do we, as a non-technical organization or entities, should we be adopting blockchain for our processes, right? I think this is some of the most relevant questions that people can ask in the beginning of things before they go and seek out help from vendors, or just ask yourself and look at your own processes and see which ones of these are relevant to you. Like it says here, if number one is a must, and if three out of the remaining is yes, then it should be effective. But if it's less than that with one, then maybe you want to test it. So I think we can share these slides later with the attendees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's how we should look at it. So I'm sharing here examples of the use cases that have been used worldwide that are quite relevant to agriculture. So most of the thing that goes to agriculture is authentication and traceability, certification, right? And well, basically that's the main one. So I'm giving some example here. I use IBV, the Harumanis Premium Mango. I'm really proud of it because it's like the first one in Malaysia, and it proves that small doesn't mean that you can't do anything. You can do. It's very specific to police, and IBV has done wonderful work on it very quickly during the MCO. So I was really impressed about that. So some of the other ones are like from overseas, the Origin Trail. They're doing big things now. But what they do, I think one of the most important thing about the contribution is they make the cost a lot less than what it used to be. But the technology is moving so fast right now. So, we can't really say pinpoint, say, oh, that's the end of it. No, this is just work in progress. So, we need to try and try. So some of these that I'm showing, like the British standards, it means that maybe Ministry of Agriculture is possible for them to set standards. It doesn't have to be like one main standards from the global point of view. It can be done at country level and stuff. There's opportunity. Okay, so I think my topic is actually to talk about agriculture in the new normal, because I think at this time there's no way that we can turn back and think the old way. Agriculture is A, B, C, D. Agriculture is everywhere, right? So if you don't change your paradigm into a new paradigm, all these things are going to go and kill you. Even as universities or organizations, government agencies, government ministries, and even especially small farmers. There's a lot of them all over the world. They are the big players, actually. Big numbers, small amount of money, but extremely important. But some of these are very important. The forced acceleration of digital transformation means we have to be agile. That means you have to turn everything around on its head and start thinking about, this agriculture in a totally different way. Right now, Malaysia keeps thinking about it as, a small contributor to GDP, low end, low value thing. But we keep talking about this climate smart agriculture, intelligent agriculture. But what it means is really you have to turn that around all the way around 180 degrees, right? And like number 6, for example, since like in the 80s, Malaysia has been focusing on a few plants, or what is trees, the types of species, which is actually against our interests, because we are actually a very multi-diverse country. So what happens to the other ones? That are we going to give it to other people for free? And things like that. And then this number 5, I think is very important as well. The plant-based economy is the vegan thing. Everything meat now is made from vegetables and stuff. In Malaysia, we don't feel this yet, but it's going very, very big in Europe. In some of the, like burger and all these things are being made by vegetable origins. So these are some of the things that they are really seriously going on big time out there, the farm to fork traceability and stuff. And we really need to get this to the mainstream. That means everybody needs to understand and to do something about it. It's not just research institute, but research institute have a role to play, to be the leaders and making people aware and do something about it. So this is just what Malaysia. I wanted to just tease your brain today. Rather than say agriculture, I call it the flora-based economy, because actually Malaysia is extremely wonderful country. We are 10 mega diverse country. We have 14,500 plant species. Do you see how many species I'm putting there? Not even 100. So what happened to the 14,000, right? So, and then if you are saying it, or everything is cultivation is very, very skewed to one side. What happened to the other side? Does that mean that it's staying there quietly? No, actually, there's a lot of lobbying going on. But where are they going, or what are they? Nobody knows, right? A lot of these things. So in the middle is something that's parts of it are in the wild and parts of it is cultivation. We start looking at things differently. This is just one of the way that I'm saying that we should be looking at it, and then we can have a different kind of analysis of where we should put our resources and our intellect, whatever the intelligent agriculture should be, right? This is my opinion, but can be bigger than that. It's just to tease your brain, like I said in the morning. So these are some of these ideas. Actually, we at Mind have explored earlier in the past 4 years. Some of these, most of them have not gone anywhere yet because actually it takes a lot of work, and blockchain is actually an emerging technology. So for example, the food safety is very important to us because there's a lot of cases of poisoning and stuff that's going on. So how this is some of the way that the agriculture based organization or entities can help to reduce this sort of risk to the public, right? And also, for example, like export of products standardization. We used to sell a lot of musangking outside, right? For example, I'll just give you an example. And when it came very, very popular, then you got all the substandards coming in to actually being sold at that level. So in the end, we actually spoil our own names. The same thing with Tongkat Ali in Taiwan. A lot of things happen, something like this, right? And in the country, the certification for organic or sustainable or premium stuff, who are actually looking at it? These are all the things that actually have a lot of elements that blockchain can help, because blockchain is very good at certification. It's especially the public blockchain. It only goes one way ahead. You can make a mistake and you can repair it, but you can only go forward. You cannot go back and repair and padam like the old school one. No, no way. Okay. So and then Malaysia is like I said just now, we are one of the 10 mega diverse what do you call this biodiversity, right? So we have all these medicinal plants that are now being taken here and there privately by people, and suddenly it comes out from other countries that the IP is coming out here, the IP is going out there. So these are some of the opportunities that where we can use blockchain for resource management and certification, so that these are coming from Malaysia, and this thing is the government is accredits this sort of system, then it should be able to be brought to the international level and say, okay, this is our stuff, like this. And in giving fertilizers, the government gives a lot of fertilizer subsidies and other subsidies. These are also one way for us to use the blockchain technology for oversight and verification. And traceability, this I think this is something that has not been brought about before. This is a very expensive what do you call this, orchid from gold of Kinabalu, they call it. It's extremely expensive, one of the rarest in the world, top 10, top 5 in fact, right? But how are we looking at these things? And if you transship it, for example, how do you know that transship country or the third country that's doing it for you are not going to change that? Dan kata goal of Kinabalu, but made in something like this before they go to the final destination. So it'd be very interesting because if you can actually tag your stuff there, you have something to tag it and say, well, this one actually, even though it goes to third country exporter, fourth country exporter, or fifth country, but it was made in Malaysia, especially for premium products. I think this is where blockchain can make a lot of give us a lot of what do you call this value in the ecosystem, in GDP as well, because the data will change, and the amount, the value of your export data is going to change, definitely. So this is something that we have to look at. I think that will have a lot of impact on for the country, not just for individual what is individual suppliers and stuff like this. So that's how I see it at this point in time. I think that's a lot to digest. So I would like to thank you all for listening to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Masura, for your sharing. So, I have one question here regarding presentation just now. So, considering the scenario here in Malaysia, right? So, as you mentioned, we are very much actually an agriculture-based country, thanks to our natural climate, right? We are all along summer here, right? We don't have the four seasons, so that actually helps in growing a variety of crops along in the country, because we are the producers of just now a variety of crops like palm oil, right, rubber, paddy, rice, a whole lot of types of fruits. Right now is durian, right, and so forth. So are you suggesting that each farmers or the crop suppliers to have this blockchain technology implemented in their system, their inventory? So what if they don't?
Okay, for me, it makes a lot of sense. One of the trends just now is about community-driven movement, right? That's coming up. So if you are a durian, what do you call this? Seller, for example, or you plant, you have durian kebun durian lah katakan, right? Something like this. It should be aggregated so that the value can or the cost can be shared, because every time you have a new system, there is an element of cost whether we like it or not. But the thing about blockchain is that it's best for multi-players to be in that system. It's not just like one. Isn't that right, Chris?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So it's a lot of this thing can be driven by individuals, but actually best to be brought upon as a group because it works on network effect. So, you can verify each other as well on that and say, hey, don't do that lah, You might go outside and offline and say, hey, don't do that. But everything that's on the system is there. But again, we have to remember this system only timestamps. Garbage in, garbage out. If you say, whatever that is, whatever you give them, that data that you give them, that's the one that they're going to timestamp for you. So if you make a mistake, you have got to go repair in the front. Cannot just go back and say, oh, padam cannot. Something like this lah. But definitely, I think even though it looks small, I think it can become one of the thing that gives Malaysia the edge and say a niche market and say, oh, they are really good at this. That's all we need. We don't have to be, exporter of everything. Just a few of the winners and make sure that they are well prepared for the global market, and blockchain can help them.
Okay, thank you. I think before I pick up, there's one question that already posted by our attendees. I think better I pass to Chris first, right? So that you can start presenting first. So we finish our presentation, all our presentation, and we'll discuss more, taking questions from them. So over to you, please.
So the next one.
Is it my turn or?
Yeah, your turn now.
Let me try to see how to share the screen.
Share content also can.
Share content. Nope, it doesn't allow me yet.
Because I think the host is assigning you as presenter.
I have to. Do I have to upload the?
Okay, got it. Got it now. He has set you as presenter now. Because you can only set one presenter at a time. I think now you can, right?
I can't as well. How about we move on first, and then I send the files to you, and then when I present, just very quickly go over that as well. That's work as well.
Okay, so you want to pass your session to Mr. Razwa first?
Because I'm not passing to you yet, so maybe Mimos want to go first, and then I go after Mimos. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, sure, okay. So, Mr. Razwa, over to you now. Would you like to share the content, or I can share for you?
Okay, sure. Let me check on the share content. I, okay, you are not the presenter. Okay,
All right, let's go.
okay, okay. So first of all, thank you for inviting me to share some knowledge and on the project that we have done on blockchain on the agriculture perspective, uh, in particular, right? Okay, so as a start, MIMOS is basically a national applied R&D center, which is under the purview of Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology, mostly, right? And we basically have about 803 researchers, and we have a patent file in my APO about 1,000 something. And then we have on the project, particularly on the government side, and we have a lot of patent here. And then among two of our scientists was nominated as a top research scientist in Malaysia and also in ASEAN. And then this is our area of environment. What we're working on is like big data, AI, simulation, blockchain, IoT, cybersecurity, augmented reality, additive matching, and cloud computing. And this is in the early this year we embark on the industry forward for Ministry of Industrial Trade. Right. Let me jump straight to the experience, our experience. Right. Before that, I would like to apologize because I didn't turn on the video because I'm now at the mercy of hotel internet. so,
Okay.
so
It's
right.
okay.
Yes.
As long as we
Right.
can hear you.
Okay. Right. We have done in agriculture sector. We have done a few blockchain and traceability projects. For example, like durian traceability for export to China, Hong Kong, Australia, and also Japan. And then this particular project that I want to share is about Procter and Gamble, which is focused on the sustainability. Right. So as a brief, the project is for the Procter and Gamble. They wanted to show that their commitment in maintaining and abiding to the sustainable demand of the people. And so the project is basically to prove and ensure that Procter and Gamble only buying from all the sustainable source. And when we say sustainable, uh, based on their policy, is meant there is no deforestation at the farm. There's no pit and no exploitation in terms of labor, in terms of environment, not killing orang asli, not killing the birds, the monkey, and so on. So these are the sustainable that we are looking at. But how we want to say that all the purchase, all the buying are coming from a good farming agriculture practice. So this is what we are doing, right? In 2000, we started the project in 2017 end, and then that is for the first year. And then in the first year, we've been recognized in 2018 citizenship award that they mentioned here that they are working with MIMOS with the blockchain enable solution where they can track back from the midstream to the upstream. So that is our initial project in 2018, right? And then we moved to phase two. Before that, this is the first one. We focusing on the independent smallholders because estate and also on the growers, they already have their own system because they are big enough, so they can do all those sustainable things. And for this particular project, we are focusing for the first year, we are focusing on the independent smallholder, the smallholders like pekebun kecil and so on, right? The main idea is how to bring up the farmer livelihood at the same time asking them to do all this sustainable good practice agriculture, right? So this is the project all about. And then in 2019, in the citizenship report, which has just come out in December, we are again being mentioned here that we have done a blockchain technology, and we have helped them to able to trace back uh, their source up to 98% from the plant until to the farmer. So it's a quite big improvement on the side, right? Right. Okay, this is our collaborators and partners that we are been working with RSPO, WWF, and our main partner is MISI, which is Malaysian Institute for Supply Chain Innovation. It's a university here. And then we also work with World Resource Institute, Conservation International, and YARA. So these are our partners in this project. And our main aim is here to create, to trace back to the sustainable supply chain using sustainable tech. So it's a building block that is a trusted and credible tech component. So this is our aim game. And then before we go for digitalization, these are the issues, the challenges that we have encountered, where we have everybody are working on silos because they station all the field officer to collect all the data, and their data are scattered and are in different format. And when they come to sharing the data, so there will be some sharing sharing issues, and different format issue, and all of them are silos, and it's very hard for them to do collective data visualization and to see from the holistic view perspective and so on. So that is the challenges, and that is the when we come and start coming in to digitize all this information. Right. Okay. To give you a brief idea on how we do, in 2017, our main focus is at the first level here, which is at the independent smallholders area, where we wanted to trace how the farmer sell their fruits, their FFB, fresh fruit, and then later from the collection center or the dealer, it will sell to the mills. So these are the first area that we're done in 2018. And then in 2019, our focus coming back from the downstream, go back to the midstream. So these are the part that we have done in the project. And as you can see here, how we want to track the information is we basically track the buy-sell records. When we say about tracing and tracking, usually a common practice, for example, like previous our another project, we are using QR code and so on, all those medium to carry the data. But in this particular project, we, due to the practicality and also on the information perspective, we are using all those document and paper trailing. So from this here, we can know that the transaction being buy and sell record. So all this coming back to the portal, to the traceability portal, which at the behind the scene is the blockchain, right? So these are the area that we are done. And in 2019, we start from the top, which is from the downstream, where it's coming from the plant. We know that PNG share with us their purchase record in the good receive notes from their SAP, and from there they know who are their supplier, and they know it goes to which plant, and they basically know who are their refineries. But from the refineries to the mill and to all the crusher or another refineries, the basically is a black box. The information is not available. So what we did is we go to the public domain in the internet, in the certification bodies and so on, the RSPO, all those WWF and other NGOs to collect all this information, a public domain that available on the internet. We do a crawler because we have we call it MyClip, which is the robot that crawl into the internet and collect all the information back. So this information are coming back, and we need to analyze all this data and put in place so that we know, finally, we know from the refineries, it actually coming from which crusher or which refineries or which mill. So by doing that, we can basically tie all the information from the downstream, go back all the way to the farmers. That's how we did it, right? And then the in technology behind it is we basically implement we adopt to the standards. This is the GS1 standard, global standard one. It's famous on the fast moving consumer goods, but the concept that they are using is very good, and we see that we can leverage on that same adoption, the standard adoption. So as we can see here, this is a GLN. We have all the GLN. GLN is basically a global location number, which talk about where it's coming from. For example, in this case, there's just a one GLN and two GLN, and then GLN CDE. So I will explain after this. And then from here, you can see that there's a GTIN, which is the product of this particular location, and GTIN from this particular location, right? So from the GTIN, they will come out with the batches that their product come out from this particular GTIN. For example, in this GTIN B, for example, like GLN B is a farm, Pachi Abu farm, and they come out with they have a product which is the fruits, the kelapa sawit, and then from the kelapa sawit, maybe today collection they created as a EPC one. So and then they for example, like Pakcik Ahmad also have another farm that produce another batch of fruits. So this also they will send back. They will send or they will sell the fruits to the JLN, to the collection center or the dealer. So from the dealer, they will aggregate this. They will collect all these fruits, and they will see or check the quality and so on. They will timbang with it. Then they will pay the pakcik lah, right? And then after that, they will also send to the mill, where they will send in the trailer, send the whole batch to here, and then maybe the pakcik will come out again, all this fruit, and keep selling it, and is being collected at the collection center, and later on it will be passed to the mill. And then at the mill also, they will also collect, they will process, and they will all convert the thing into oil and so on. And then after that, they will ship through a tanker or whatever to the refinery to further refine and so on. So the flow keep coming in from the upstream until to the downstream. So the same process goes until the end. Right. If let's say we look at this one and we convert back to the reality, what we are doing is we are basically looking at we are applying the GS1 standard into this concept where we are having a farm. We know the farm owner, we know the farm, we know the location of the farm, we know the fruit bunch, we know is being collected and being centralized at the collection center, and who is the dealer, and the dealer send with the trailer to the mill, what are the trailer name, what are the trailer driver name, what are the trailer numbers, and when it goes to the mill, it produce oil and where it move on and so on and so on. So everything is trackable and to the source. And the beauty of it is all this transaction like created, aggregated, transported, and so on is logged at the blockchain side. So from here, you from Husra said just now, you cannot amend because this is the beauty of blockchain. You cannot amend the history, right? Right. So why we implement it in the blockchain? As you can see, we started in Malaysia. But there is a possibility that we're going to expand it everywhere because PNG, their supply is not only from Malaysia, but they also come getting it from Indonesia, from Vietnam, from Philippines, and so on. So they get it from everywhere. Even in Malaysia, we have one set of blockchain, but with multiple nodes. And if let's say we have in the future, we have in all these countries, like for example, like we also have the plant in China or in Pakistan or in Stockton in Croatia or in US, then all this can be shared. Uh, that's the beauty of blockchain, where it distributed nodes in nature. And even though we here in Malaysia we are using MIMOS solution, but if let's say in the US or in China or in Pakistan they have their own solution, they can still communicate to each other. You can communicate between the nodes by the blockchain protocol. So that's the beauty. So it's enable expansion and it's enable integration. Okay? So that's one thing. And then the second part is when we have a multiple distributed nature, we need to know about how to maintain the integrity of the data. Is the data transparent? Is it able to trace back to the source? Is it efficient, fast enough? Can it serve public and private data? So these are the things that we need to consider, and we have come up with we think the blockchain can solve all these questions, right? And then one of the things that we learn, part of it, even though we know that uh, that the blockchain is irreversible, you cannot change the history. It won't allow you modify. But there are certain things that we need to understand and we need to consider. For example, like regulation, because we are not only apply in Malaysia, we are also apply in the US and in Europe due to the fact that PNG is not only in Malaysia. They are multinational companies and their procurement is in Switzerland, Geneva, and their buyer is in US and also in China. So their operation are everywhere, right? So we need to comply to their regulation, which is one of the regulation, which is also in Malaysia, where we have Malaysia Personal Data Protection Act. And in the Europe, we have this General Data Protection Regulation. So we need to comply with this when at the same time, we have to beat to the principle of the blockchain. So what the law is talking about, they talk about the right to erasure, the rights to be forgotten. These are not technical, but this is more on the policy making or the social thing or the law or the regulation, which impact on our technical development. Because when you talk about right to be forgotten, let's say the farmer come to the PNG and said, "Hey PNG, I wanted to I wanted to drop off from the program, and I want you to delete all my records." So since that all the transaction or the records are logged to the blockchain, how you want to handle that? So that is the question, right? So we have to design our solution in the sense that we have to break up between the who the person is and what the data that he carries. So we have to break things up. So these are the thing is, so if let's say one day they say I want to go out from the program, I want you to delete my data, I can still erase your information, I can wipe you out. Nobody can point back to you, but at the same time, I can still relate all the transaction, buy and sell. I mean, all those transactions are still intact without without telling who you are, and you can remain as anonymously. So that what we have done in this particular project. And so in general, what we when we design a solution, we are not only need to beat to the technology, we need to also look at the practicality in terms of why. Because when we talked about traceability, talk about this kind of thing, usually people will think about what medium that you are using, RFID, QR code, barcode, all those things. But is it practical in your situation? So that's also we need to consider. And we need to a bit like this one, the regulation, and we also need to look at the from the social aspect, how the farmer react when you go and wanted to get the information from them and so on. And we also need to understand how the dealer and all these super dealer react if let's say you go and say that, hey, I want to take your buy and sell records. So all your I want to know your dollar and cents transaction. So all these thing is very private and very we need to respect all this kind of thing. So we have to implement the technology. At the same time, we need to also adhere to all these conditions. Right. And then I think I've done with all these technical things. So I wanted to show what we have done. For example, like this one, when you do when the farmer, the pachi go and sell all these fruits, they can go back and you send to the dealer go to the mill and so on. So all this actually trackable, and you can actually key in your number, and you can immediately see what are the fruit bunch that you have already sold, then where it goes, and so on and so on. And and as the PNG initiative, they also implement a smart label in their product. For now in the US, whereby you can scan at the product level, for example, like a shampoo just now, Head and Shoulders shampoo, you can scan it and they will tell you where is the ingredient coming from, where is the chemical coming from, where is the plant, the refinery, the the fruits, the oil, and so on, and up to the farmer or the area, whether it's coming from Johor or whatever, Parit Raja and so on. So
That's
it will tell you it will tell you until up to that level, right? So how to implement that if they don't have data? So that's the issue, right? So
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and then this is how the system look like from the PNG office perspective, right? From the management, they wanted to see where their plant and also their refineries situated, where is the farm area and so on. So they wanted to see as a holistic so that they can make a decision whether should I buy from this particular area, should I not buy from, is this area polluting the air, is this area polluting the burning the forest and so on. So they need to see from the holistic view, from the supply chain perspective, where if let's say I cut off this supply, what happened to my production? And if let's say I buying more from this particular area, what will happen on that supply chain perspective, right? And this is, for example, like in this region, we know that these are the refineries. Sorry, this is are the farms and also mills in this our area. We have a lot. And but if let's say in terms of numbers of mill, we know that Indonesia is more than us. But in terms of yield, Malaysia is better, right? So in that sense, we know, and then we also map this information with the public domain grievance. For example, like people are complaining about burning, destroying forests and so on. All this come out with the risk, And this risk not coming from us. The risk is actually coming from all those NGOs that coming back to us. We collect all the information and we remap it to the area or to the mill that we already captured, right? So this information is basically a mix between public domain data and also the data that we have. And this is how the system will look like. If they say they pinpoint to this particular mill, they will know this mill basically getting from which area of the sourcing, their source, right? So this is another way of representing it. And then we know also from here, we can see for particular in Kuantan, there's one refinery where it's collect all the oil coming from Sabah, Sarawak, and Semenanjung, and also from Indonesia to make their refined item. And then this from here also from the data, when we have a lot of data, we can basically visualize them and we know, okay, this coming from this particular refinery, and then this refinery getting it from which mill, and this mill, particular mill collect from which farm. So we know all this network. So when we have all this network, we can basically know, we can trace from the first to the last. So that's the idea. So basically, the main goal here is to share that with the blockchain and also with the data and traceability that we collected, we can basically know whether you are sourcing it from the sustainable or non-sustainable sources. And then once you know, you can make the decision whether to continue or not to continue, or to further buy more or that kind of thing. So, but that I think I end my presentation. That's what we have been doing for now on the palm oil traceability. Right, thank you.
Mr. Norsman. I just want to have ask one question to you. Like, I'm gonna go back to like a very basic in terms of readiness of our farmers. Back to what they call farmers like Pak Abu just now I mentioned. I saw the perindustrian Bingan Jaya. I thought it's in Parit Raja, right? My kampung actually, right? So actually, just from their perspective, actually what type of system or technology, right? Like they need to prepare, like, in order for them to feel like, oh, this is not that hard to be start. I want to implement blockchain, but I don't feel like I want to, get into the nitty gritty things that they are not probably tech savvy people, right? So is it possible that for farmers who are not technology savvy like Pak Abu could actually chip in this blockchain system? So what actually they need to prepare? I'm looking also from the perspective of researchers like us in BPM. Let's say we are gonna do the research on blockchain. We want to have some, case study, approach farmers, and then what we can tell them that it's not that hard for you to prepare your system to get into the blockchain technology.
Yeah, that one is actually first of all, when we talk to the farmer, we need to lower our way of explaining things
Exactly.
to make them understand. So if let's say you tell them, "Oh, this is for blockchain," blah blah blah, they will run away lah.
Exactly.
So you need to basically look at from their perspective, from what they can benefit and so on. For example, like if they say they join this program, they will get a premium price because of sustainable. Because sustainability, when you apply it, once you have the title of sustainable farming, you basically have a better price compared to normal people. So that's how we convince them, hey, join us, and then we can use this, and then the benefit is you get more money, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's
That's one.
and then yeah, And then, for example, like in this Procter and Gamble case, they not only going for that direction, they are also like training the farmers, and they give them you join us, we give you training on the how to make sure that your fertilizer is good, and how to fertilize your farm, and then how to all the crops, and then how to even how to tabo the baja. They also teach that. So they even hire agronomists, sit down together with the farmer to how to uplift their profit, their yield, and so on. So this is how they convince these people to join the program, right? And then and then the technology wise is basically sitting at the behind at the it's transparent for them. They join and they give all this data, and then the data are being stored and secretly there, so that they know that their privacy is not violated, their information is safe. So all this we need to convey this information in a layman term, so that they understand that they are not actually nobody, not a single LHDN will come hunt them or whatever. So these are the thing that I think we can how we can approach that.
Thank you for your insight, Mr. Narma. That's a very good explanation.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, pass the floor to Chris now. Is you there? Ready?
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let me try to open up. All right. So first, I would like to say thank you for the invitation to share about some of the work that we have done on the blockchain space today. And it's really good for me because I go last, because Mastura and Mimos has very hard in explaining how blockchain works and everything. So I guess, like to um, emphasize the importance of blockchain and the potential impact of it, maybe I will go straight into like some of the real example and cases we have done around the region as well, which like Mastura was mentioning in the early uh, statement. Yeah. So let me try to open up my files. Okay. Can you see my full screen now?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So basically, let me first go very quickly on who we are first. So basically, we are a blockchain consulting advisory firm. So basically, we have the solution, we have the know-how around the technology, and we and people based on that. As a group, we are quite widespread around the region, from Hong Kong, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia. We used to be in Thailand as well, and also Singapore. So we have a group of expert and technical developer from all over the place as well. So this is one of our key advantage when we compare with other company as well. So basically, the next slide basically is some of our entities around the region as well. And on the right side, product and solution is basically these are our some of our solution that we created and incubated under our wings. Today, I will touch more on the last product, which is Wild Trace right here, which is our traceability application. Above that is the BlockPass. BlockPass is our eKYC on blockchain, and Gina is actually our a bit of fintech, and basically it's a random number generated on blockchain that can be used for fintech or any business or operation which require random number generation, for example. So as a company, we do R&D, we advise government, we advise corporate, we build community, we do public awareness. Basically we do everything to make sure that people understand properly about this technology, because we can see that only when they can understand about the technology, then they can actually feel comfortable adopting it, right? So that's basically, yep. That's basically our observation. So go straight into some of the real cases. I think the previous two presenters already mentioned a lot of the challenge, where basically because of that, we need to have a proper solution. And in many cases, it's called blockchain, right? So blockchain is an upgrade solution and feature on compared to a lot of the existing technology out there. Give you another layer of trust, another layer of data and security and everything depends on how you design it. But for the purpose of today, I won't touch too much into the technical aspect of it. So just take it as that, just like the other two presenter already go over some of the very key feature of blockchain. Yeah. So next, I would like to share some of the cases and some of the product that we have been doing traceability, so that our audience today kind of understand that you can actually do traceability for that product, for this product, for that services and everything as well. So the first one that I would like to share is, just like Malaysia, Vietnam is a huge export and agriculture country as well. And there are many type of cacao and like the powder to make chocolates and everything. So we got a chance to did a traceability and branding protection cases for Indochine chocolates, which is one of the high-end chocolate being sold in five-star hotels around Vietnam. So basically, they have their journey, how they make the chocolate. They have the source of the chocolate. They have the source of the power. They would like to engage more with some of the, uh, the eatery people out there who consume their chocolate and everything. So they go through Wow Trace to do it. Yeah. Next, we have so we talk about chocolate. Next, we also have a project with Dalat Food D. So if you guys ever, yeah, if you guys ever travel to Vietnam, so Dalat is like Langkawi. Um, it's a highland area who well known for their veggie and organic product and everything. And I say it right, organic product. And the type of the buyers for organic product, they're willing to pay a lot more for a same type of product, as long as they know that these products are, number one, organic. Number two, I can see exactly how you guys plan it. I can see exactly where you guys store it, how you guys deliver it to us and everything, right? So again, this helping the audience, the buyers of the product, to understand exactly where's the product coming from. But we did it in a slightly different flow, because compare with the previous case, which is chocolate. Now this is more like veggie and tea and coffee, because Dalat knows very well for their coffee as well. Yeah. This is an extension. So I mentioned coffee and tea, right? So this is it as well. So this company, Coded Farm, on this slide, basically another very famous tea and coffee producer in Vietnam as well. High-end product. They're also using our product. Yep. So next, we also have another veggie case, golf farm. This farm, they do mostly organic product, from mushroom to a lot of veggie, carrot, and everything. Again, organic product. It's important to show the buyers where's the product coming from, the timing of the product, which batch it's belong to, and everything. So it providing a lot of confidence information for the buyers, right? And that's why they pay a lot more for their organic product. So last, I saved the best for the last, which is our recent cases for Malaysia, right? Because previously I just talked about all cases in Vietnam. So yes, Masura, thank you Masura for mentioning about this case. So basically Harumonis, Perlis, Mango has been in a discussion with us for a very long time. And actually it took them a year to agree to go for this project together with us. And luckily, we got into agreements right before COVID-19, or everything break down. But it worked out beautifully and nicely for them as well. And I think they was very appreciate that they did this. Um, even I mean, it's even more effective during the COVID-19 time as well. Let me share a little bit as well. So in Vietnam or Malaysia, COVID-19 has changed a lot of the consumer behavior in a way that, like especially in Vietnam, right? Which the COVID-19 condition, I have to say that probably is more serious than if you compare with Vietnam, for example. So the lockdown was extended, the lockdown was emphasized, and it impact the way that you're doing shopping, you do grocery and everything, right? So how do you buy the product being at home, staying at home, but you want to know that what exactly I am getting, right? If I'm buying something, is that really coming from that farm and everything, right? You want to know everything, especially you can't really be there in the supermarket to touch on the mango, to touch on the fruit that you decided to buy, right? And everything. You can't really see all of that information. So because of COVID-19, Harumani's enterprise decided to put a lot of information that once you scan that QR code, it will pop up a website. We call that the Explorer, right? That's where you can see a lot of the information about the product and everything I will show later. Because Harumani's Mango, from what I remember talking to them, it's only lasts with good quality for a certain period of time, like 3 weeks time, for example. So um, in a way, when you buy this product, the QR code will basically showing you a lot of the useful information, like how to eat it, how to store it, how did we send it to you, which cargo, which like logistic company we use, which farm this mango was cultivated from, for example, because as you know, like Harmonious Enterprise, they have different range and type. So actually, this time we do it for two type of their mango, which is one is sunshine and another one is Harumonious. The total QR code we used was 350,000. And we have been using that so far for 175 tons of mango so far. Yes, and one of the amazing feature that we start doing this for Harmonious Enterprise is that it not only helping the client to trace where's this product coming from, but it's also helping Harmonious Enterprise as the seller of the product know exactly where are their customer, because every time when you scan the QR code product, right, of course it's giving back the signal. I mean it's recording the signal that someone is checking on the mango and everything, right? So it giving Harmonious as the seller, the signal, and the heat maps, where's our customer coming from, right? And that's really helpful. For example, let me put it this way. As a company, Harmonious Enterprise always assuming, let's say they assume that, a lot of our buyers are coming from the Kalang area, for example. So let's do a lot of marketing expense for Kalang area, right? But after they go through this project with us, the heat map that coming back to us, that coming back to them, showing that actually a lot of the scanning coming from, where? Johor, for example. What does it mean? It meaning that the the marketing strategy and the expense that have been used for marketing purpose has been put on the wrong place, right? So at the same time, it giving the end user more information that they can trust, they can be confident about what they buy, but at the same time, depends on design of how you architect it. it can give much more benefit to the seller and the people that putting in the information as well. And I think this is one of the amazing example that I will just going around Southeast Asia or even in Vietnam to brag about it as well. And actually at the moment in Vietnam, we have, because of this project, we are engaging at a more government level of project, which we are talking about, let's say, e-commerce. We're talking about like traceability e-commerce. We're talking about milk, for example, right now, all at the government and national level right now for Vietnam, for example. So I hope that this is a good start for our Malaysia activities, and it can pick up from there. Let me very quickly show the design of the Web Explorer. I mean, I didn't have enough time just now to actually to pull up the page where it's actually showing the page of Harumoni's mango. So in the case of Harumoni's, in this navel orange thing, it's going to be Harumoni's, and it's going to have the information of the company, the batch dates, and when is it going to expire, and even the photo of like when they're packing it and everything. And below you can see that like these are, we call these things are critical events of the product, right? So when does it cultivated, when does it getting out of the farm, when does it get on the van, when does it get in the warehouse, when does it got export out of warehouse. So all of that are critical milestone, right? And yeah, it depends on how much of information and how much effort you want to put in and put all of those information in. At the end of the day, the end user from your ecosystem will be the one who benefits about it, right? So you can be selective on how you want to show things to uh, to your client as well. So I just stopped sharing my presentation. Can you still see my video or yeah? Okay. So yeah, one thing that I just want to share one last thing as well. The thing that we are observing so far in our 2 years of doing advisory on this traceability side for supply chain and agriculture is that not every single agriculture product will need traceability, right? That's number one. Number two, let's not very blindly try to apply traceability for everything. Some will need more than the others, right? Because I think a lot of people out there try to really sell the idea that um, blockchain is miracle, blockchain can solve everything, blockchain is for everyone. Because you know what? At the end of the day, right? Each of the QR code and each of the recording information, for example, Harumoni's mango and everything, it come with a cost to add on the mango and everything, right? So does that cost justify your business model, justify your business value and everything? So if the answer is significant yes or like really good yes, then absolutely you should go for it, right?
Right.
But if the answer is like, mm, if you add on the QR code or not, it doesn't increase the value that much, or it doesn't increase the sales that much, then maybe you don't really have a critical situation to apply traceability, for example. But of course, if your organization always have extra funding and extra effort in giving more information to the end user, of course, that's the best. But I'm just saying that, like, because this is from our role of the service provider, we always have to justify this answer to the client that we're providing the service for, right? Is it going to help you? Is it going to increase your sales and everything? Is it going to increase the value in your organic badging, for example? So that's a very important question for anyone would like to adopt blockchain traceability, for example. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Chris. I think if I should do it my question, then I will have chance to actually read. So I'm going to read out some of the questions that our participant has actually have posted. So I'm going to read the question from Alina Ibrahim here. The question one is that how can blockchain in Malaysia agriculture boost the safety and traceability status of the products? And secondly, how can blockchain be used in our halal manufacturing industries for our SMEs? That's two questions there. Did you get the question?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
So one is how can blockchain in Malaysian agriculture boost the safety and traceability status of the products? Secondly, how can blockchain be used in our halal manufacturing industries for our SMEs?
That question is for all of the panelists, right?
For all. Any one of
Yes.
you could actually
Maybe I
answer.
go. Because I'm speaking, so I'm picking the first one. So
Okay.
actually, I think I want to answer question number 2. I think halal industry is one of the industry that will benefit the most from this traceability blockchain application, and it's already started. It's already started, but I guess for Malaysia, um, I think it's in the intention of the country that try to become the leader in the halal. I mean, how do I say it? Like network and country and everything. And from what I understand, the other country like the Middle East and everything, they're not making a very long strike yet, which meaning that Malaysia always can be the leader in this area. But so far, I don't see big enough interest and intention from the local market to do this yet, because of course it's always come with a bit of opportunity cost, invest in the infrastructure and the knowledge and everything. But I guess if Malaysia can start very early, you guys gonna write the result much earlier than anyone else, because I think one good thing is that Malaysian market is very open for innovation product. But I guess in this, the role of the government, the role of, for example, like Hakim, is very big. Like they need to show interest in adopting something like this, right? To be the sponsor for this new movement. Because the solution are out there, right? We already have project working with IoT device that can helping us to capturing, like temperature of the slaughtering, like room, the way it's slaughter and everything. I mean, the technology, the platform is out there. It's only waiting for the local market to adapt. And I don't know, I mean, what else can we do to push for it, right? Yeah.
So I think halal industries is something that really relevant to implement this blockchain, right?
Yes.
Because we can straight away track whether you would like to buy that or not. I think there is one very significant element that all the brokers or suppliers that they need to have to support this, especially in Malaysia, right? Okay, I'm gonna read the second question from Siu Wai Yung. What government need to do to accelerate the blockchain adoption? I think this could be passed to Mastura, right? Question?
Okay. I think the government now has recently created the what you call this, the proof of concept, the sandbox, the innovation sandbox opportunities for new technologies to be tested. So I think blockchain is one of the technologies that is actually very suitable for that sort of use cases, because it's still growing, it's still new. There probably be a lot of changes still coming out. So, but the first thing you want to try is probably a pilot, or like a proof of concept or whatever that you're doing. So I think that's government has gone through that way now. They have some fun, I think, to a number of funders, organization like Cradle and all these things. These are one of them. But the thing about blockchain, I think that a lot of people tend to forget, or if I may share a little bit, since the 10th Malaysian Plan, 2011, government has been pushing for industry to lead this kind of innovation, right? Can hear that. Oh. Okay, so what happened is that we have not been very successful. I think Malaysians are very used to the fact that government is pushing for a lot of stuff. But blockchain is totally different in a way because the blockchain community themselves this development or this the development in this what do you call this in this technology, right? So it's open source. You can if wherever you are, like Azman said just now, wherever you are, if you think you are good at it and you want to try, go ahead and do it. There's tak bantang lah, you know. There's no reason why you don't try it. And if you want to do it, do it. I think there is actually a lot of change that needs to be done in the sense that the attitude that the industry needs to come out also has to be changed at this point in time. Government has come out with that thing, but you know, unless we go for and actually like people like MDEC and Mind and Magic and everybody is actually trying to help the small players to test this thing. So um, maybe the next one that the government can help is to have a very kind of a formal planning document that includes blockchain, but not necessarily just blockchain, because it needs other supporting technologies to go with it. So you know, it's probably like something like a group of technologies that needs to be planned together. I think that's probably where the government can help. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Ra.
Yeah,
So-
maybe I can add a little bit
Okay.
more on that part.
Okay.
Right. I think if let's say you want to sell blockchain as the technology, I think the adoption will be quite hard. But if let's say you want to sell the value of what the blockchain's selling, I think that will be a take up. But as usual, when it come to cost, it will be a bit uh, a bit hard for the industry to join
Convince.
in. Yeah, to convince them to spend more money because they cannot see directly what the output from that, right? But if let's say they implement blockchain, how many dollar sign ringgit that they will get? So they indirectly they cannot see that, but it will give them indirect benefits. For example, like brand protection, consumer trust, all those in apa benda yang tak nampak lah, something
Exactly.
like yeah that is a thing that they need to think of. For example, like halal, we've been approaching Jakim and so on about this, and then they actually they're doing something on that, and then they already start on something, so they already on the track, I think.
Speaking about trust just now, I'm going to pick up a question relating to trust from Izwan Hafiz, right? So he asked, when we talk about using blockchain in agriculture, right, we know that we are going to use digital technology to secure the physical real world goods such as durian traceability. This can only be realized with the help of intermediate techs that transform physical events into digital realm. If the intermediaries misbehave, then the integrity will still be in question. So doesn't this still maintain the trust issues? This is regarding the
Okay.
trust.
Yeah, I think this so like from when we encounter into this project during accessibility, I think we need to see from the practicality perspective instead of looking at the technology alone. For example, like at that particular time, people are talking about RFID, but when it goes to the practicality, is RFID really works? For example, like if let's say you are consumer, since that the RFID, let's say label on the box as with the RFID tag, but you as a consumer, how you want to read the tag? You need a device. So are you expecting a consumer to buy a special device to read from the RFID? So the answer is no. Then probably the best approach for that one is just a low tag QR code, just printing a QR code and paste on the box, and that will give you some information about the box. Then and then talking about the digital and committing the trust, as you can see, even the QR code you can embed with all those security, the randomized number or the secret code or whatever. But when it goes to the market, people can copy it, right? Then how you want to make sure that those being copied, how do you want to tell to the consumer that these are counterfeited or a genuine product, or maybe the product they buy is genuine but is being copycat, right? So how we want to address that? So there is where the technology play at the behind, with the blockchain, with all this GIS, GPS, all other technology coming to the picture, trying to solve all this problem, right? It's not only blockchain; it's all about other platform, all about technology as well. For example, like if let's say you copycat, probably you can copy one item and you duplicate multiple time. But if let's say 1%, we just need one or maybe 5% just to report or to scan the particular item, and immediately you know this guy from different various places, and immediately you know something wrong with the number, right? Maybe the number already been duplicated. So that's why when people or the consumer scan, it'll give you different areas, right? So that is another thing, or probably in terms of trend, for example, like when you first sell the item, you know there will be a huge spike on scanning of that particular product. But after a while, the product will go down, and as a trend, it goes down, and all the scanning will be reduced. But if let's say suddenly you have a multiple scanning at odd area, and then or at odd time, then you know there's a spike and there's something wrong, right? Because you are now become an outliers, and then so you know from all these technologies, all this big data and everything and so on, it will contribute to this, and it will basically tell you, hey, your brand now being under attack or something like that. So the trust is basically there will be a lot of combination of technologies that can contribute and give you to address your problem. So the problem is the real thing. So you need to know what is your problem and how to address that in multiple ways. Not only one technology or two technology. It could be a combination of multiple of them. So I think this technology can help to protect the branding, and can also protect the consumer trust by telling them upfront before they buy, hey, this product is already being jeopardized, or it's being something wrong, it's being recalled or whatever, right? So I think that's the maybe that's my answer.
Thank you, Mr. Azman. I'm gonna pick. So we have lost Chris at the moment because the company's internet is down, right? I hope he could back in join us. So I'm gonna pick what they call a question from YouTube from Wahida Hashim. This is blockchain for agriculture, right? What about blockchain for fishing industry in Malaysia? Maybe Masuro like to answer this.
Okay, maybe Azman, you want to say something?
So far, we have a request for queries from DVS and so on, but from my side, so far we have um, not been given a chance lah. But we love to explore on this area.
Okay, I think there has been one project, not in Malaysia, but the Global Fishery Association or something like this. They've done it with New Zealand or around that area to make sure that the fish is being caught in an area which is not, there's no overfishing. So then, they do it on blockchain. They certify that that fish is coming from that area. So that that will fit certain requirements for purchases from the demand side or from the client. The client might want to make sure that they get the fish. So again, it depends on the business situation that you're in, I think. Normally this sort of thing will, again, I will use the word premium, because when you request that sort of requirements, you must be willing to pay for it. So there are certain parties that are willing to do it, right, or pay for it, or the other parties is the supplier wants to make sure that they get the market. So they were willing to, like we do RSPO, we are willing to do it because we want to make sure that our product can be sold. So normally it's this kind of environment where you use this kind of technology. It's actually not just fishing, not just for fishing is a part of agriculture in Malaysia. I mean, under our definition, fishing is definitely a part of agriculture. So I'm not sure how that goes in there. Maybe we also need to rethink that. But at this point in time, yes, it's part of it. So maybe, if there is a requirement that's coming from Malaysia, because we do a lot of importing of fish right now. So I am not sure if, like Azman said, he has been, not sure, maybe it's under NDA or at this point in time, but hopefully they will come up with some kind of project on that, because that would be very interesting to be done in Malaysia, actually.
Sure. Just wondering how to tag those fishes later on, like I say, slippery and all. That's quite one challenge from what I see. Okay, I'm gonna take one more question from Babatunji Semnan here. I think this question is okay go to Mastura. Can one receive more training in this area, especially those of us in the accounting and finance discipline? I think that
Maybe
he wants to actually basically have the training so that he can equip himself with the blockchain
Okay,
knowledge.
may I just say something? Actually, I think when we talk about blockchain, a lot of people want to start off talking about it from a very, very technical point of view. But at the end of it, you're going to use the technology if you're in business, you would want to use it in certain sectors. So if you're using in oil and gas, you need someone who knows oil and gas quite well. Just like agriculture, you probably need someone who knows agriculture quite well, or certain parts of agriculture that's going to use that technology. So there's no harm in trying to use it. There's a lot of MOOC, online courses that offers like a few days training on, to familiarize yourself with this technology. There's a lot of organization in Malaysia, like Blockline, or Access Malaysia is association, and Bitcoin Malaysia. They all do this sort of Ethereum KL. They have this kind of training over time, and they do it like every month. In fact, so there's no restriction about what background you're coming from. So as long as you feel that you want to learn more about it, go ahead and do it. There's a lot of opportunities to it. I think even from Malaysia, you don't have to go out. Okay.
I'm going to pick one last question from Siu Wayung. What is the business model for blockchain? Chris is not here. He can't back into it.
Okay.
okay. I think maybe I can give some chip in what we think of. I think first of all, we need to solve what is the problem all about, right? We need to solve the challenges and help to recover the loss, and see how we gain from it, how to get recovery from it, or maybe how to untung from it. So I think that from the business perspective, all is about this part of
Profit.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, profit. And maybe it's a untangible profit, or is a tangible profit is different thing. But from the uh, business perspective, when it comes to business model, I think first we want to solve the problem. What are the problem? So we need to identify what are the real problem and how to solve it, and then how we want to recover if there is any loss, and how to make profit out of it. So that is, I think, what we can aim for lah. But I'm not sure on generator. Maybe other thing can be more precise on that thing lah. I'm just giving my thought.
think that's something that we could explore more, like depending on different use cases or different fields that adopt the most suitable business model for them. It's not like gonna be one solution, one fit solution for all, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay, I think we are actually over by 15 minutes. I hope you don't mind staying longer with us. Okay. We can't get Chris back again. I think it's okay. I'm gonna speak to him later on. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mastura and Mike. They're the one who actually, start up the initiative, calling, introducing us with Chris and also Mr. Nur Azman here, right? Thank you to Mr. Nur Azman Ma'ali and Mimos Berhad. So thanks to Chris and Infinity Blockchain Ventures for joining us and co-organizing this with us. And thank you to all the participants who what they call willing to join us today and staying for almost 2 hours. I hope you have registered yourself during the with the registration form for you to get the certificate, right? So in case you have anything you like to ask, you can always email me. I will share with you my my email later. For the slides, and also you can also email me so that I can share with you the slides, right? So that's all for today. We apologize for any shortcomings coming from us as a main organizer. And with that, I would like to end our session with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Al-As. Thank you so much to all for again